All right, please be joined this time by Pierre Coffey, the head coach at Carver in Columbus. To back up, coach, the state championship head coach at Carver Columbus. Coach, first, congratulations on the state championship. What a great accomplishment.
Thank you, Coach. It's a blessing to be in this position. Our guys they worked hard all year long, and I'm just glad that a state championship turned out to be the fruits of our labor. So,
Yeah, coach. What do you think was special and different about this team? Everybody wants to get to where you were. And when I ask that question, I feel like the coaches know, like, what made this team different than the other teams you coached?
I think they were just very close knit. That accountability piece. Those young men, they held each other accountable. They worked extremely hard. They pushed each other to the limit in practice, in the weight room, and so I think that was the difference in this team and some of the other teams that I've had in the past. This group, they set a goal in January last year, a whole year ago, January the 8th, when we first started workouts, that we were gonna win a state championship. And they every opportunity they got to get better, they utilized that opportunity. They invested time and not spent it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was the difference.
And I think that's great, coach. And because, I like that question because I think there's a misconception that like all the teams aren't trying to win. The team went 0-10
Right.
this year was trying to win the state championship.
Exactly.
Everybody was trying to win. Everybody worked hard, but yours
You're
worked
exactly
out.
right.
Now, usually, you got to have some good players.
You got to have some good players. You got to have some luck.
Yeah,
You
but there's
got
a
to
lot
get
of
in a
teams with
good.
good players, coach.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
You
not just
got it.
and you guys were the last one standing, so it it's just unique what blends. I think every year every coach is trying to get those things,
hmm
but when you can get them, it's really something special. And you guys have had a great run the last 4 or 5 years since you've been there, and really the year before you were there, they were in the finals. So it's
hmm
a great place, but they hadn't been able to get that championship. And so what a great opportunity, a great blessing for you. And before I talk more about your season and your team, I want to talk about you because in full disclosure, we don't know each other that well. But I
Right.
want to say that I read somewhere or I heard that you were going to get out of coaching or you were coaching somewhere else. You're going to be like an AD or a principal or something, and then they sucked you back in. Is that right?
Yeah. So I was actually the head. My first head coaching position was at Spencer High School, and that was in 2016, 2015, going in 15, 16, and I got in, and Spencer hadn't had a winning season since like 1977, and we went there. Myself and a couple of my other coaching buddies became my assistants, and we went 8-4, went to the second round of the playoffs, and we had the first winning season at that point in time in like 32 years. I did 3 seasons at Spencer, just trying to build a program, and then I got an opportunity to be an assistant principal, and I went to Baker Middle School as assistant principal for 2 seasons. I mean, 2 years, 2 school years, and then I got an opportunity to get back into coaching at Chattahoochee County, which is about 10, 20 minutes south of
Mhm.
Muskogee County. And once coaching is one of those things, man. When it's in your blood, it's in your
Yeah.
blood. So when I got an opportunity to go back and become a head coach again in Chattahoochee County, I jumped on that opportunity. And so
Yeah.
that was the segue of me going out of
Yeah.
coaching and then coming back, right?
Coach, I love that. And I love the story. And I bring, I obviously love talking to you, but I do this for everybody listening, right?
Mm-hmm.
And 99% of the people listening didn't win the state championship this year, right? That they're like
Yeah.
you in 2008 and 9 and 10,
Right,
11 and
right,
12 and me, like me,
right.
I was that guy. So that I love hearing the story because there's somebody out there right now that's maybe getting out or thinking
Right,
about getting out, or maybe
right,
they had a year that they struggled.
right,
And
right.
4 or 5 years from now, you're not going to be the state champ. You only know
Absolutely.
if you quit, right?
That's
So,
right.
what advice do you have for that guy?
Oh, just, continue to turn those wheels, continue to believe in yourself, believe in your work ethic, and know that hard work pays off. I'm just a believer in that. I've had the opportunity to work for some really good head coaches. I started my career in Greenville High School in 2007 under Jeremy Williams.
Yep.
Jeremy Williams, he passed away a couple years ago, but
Mm-hmm.
when you talking about a great man and a great mentor, and I got the opportunity to just watch and learned football from him and a guy named Trip Busby. He was our defensive coordinator. His dad, Buzz Busby, was a
Mm-hmm.
big time coach here in the state of Georgia. So that's why I started. And then from there, I got the opportunity to work with Coach Dale McGee when I first got to Carver in 2011. So I worked with him for 3 seasons. And then I just seen football from a total different perspective. I watched him run Carver High School like it was a college program, and it was just so amazing to me. And I tried to be a sponge, and so fast forward to the point where I got my opportunity. Yeah, those 3 years, we were able to do some good stuff, but it was tough. And I did walk away for two calendar school years. But going back to your initial question, man, I'll tell anybody, just continue to believe in yourself and work hard. And I'm a believer that hard work pays off.
I think so too, Coach. And I think when people hear those answers, like at first, it just sounds like words and it's kind of in
Yeah,
one thing,
sound
not the
cliche.
other,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I like to show people tangible evidence of that.
Yep.
So you're at
Yep.
Chatco a couple years ago. A couple years before that, you're an assistant principal. A couple years for that, you're at Spencer, where you had a
Mm-hmm.
great run, but you weren't state championships, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Correct.
now you're in the state championship game. You're not. You've kept working. You've gotten better,
Yep.
but you're the same man you've always been.
Absolutely.
Situation
Absolutely.
changed. So I like to show people examples, not just words, of how this might be you down the road. How do you know?
Correct.
You know?
Absolutely. You're
Um,
1,000% correct.
well, let's talk about your season, Coach.
Okay.
You guys are 2-0, then you lose to Harris County. You didn't lose again, obviously. So was there a
Mm-hmm.
moment in that loss? I know Harris County got a great team, bigger school,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, but was there something that happened then? You didn't give up but one touchdown for about 5 weeks after that. So did something
Right.
happen there that really got you going?
I think, just with so our junior class, those guys, there's quite a few guys in that class have Division I offers. So, when those kids in ninth grade, we looked at that ninth grade group and we said, myself and my staff, we like, we're gonna have a chance with this group. Um, and it just so happened like the seniors, we don't have many seniors. I think we have like 10 seniors on the roster, maybe 11. And that was those 11, they were just blue collar, hard working guys that kind of brought everything together. So to answer your question, when we got to Harris County and we lost to Harris County, it was kind of that wake up call because this team was supposed, just coming on paper at the beginning of the season, this team was supposed to be the team. And, going into Harris County, get hit in the mouth. It was a very physical game in the trenches. Coach Watson, he does an amazing
Mhm.
job of just, man, those guys they be brainwashed to
Hit.
just be hard nosed, hit you in the mouth, and that's what they're gonna do. And that was a wake up call for us. Our guys, they got a little adversity early in the season. We got beat. We lost 15-6. I think it was 12-6 most of the game, and they hit a field goal like with 2 minutes left in the game to win it and would have sealed it. And that Sunday when we got to our coaches meeting and we bring the kids in every Sunday. That was, a reality check for us. It was a tough film session. It was everything we needed to be grounded and then to kind of, recalibrate and hit the ground running from that point. And so that Monday, it was a very physical practice. The seniors were out there after the juniors, and the offense was after the defense. And it was what we needed to kind of like, okay, we
Mhm.
can be beat, but now we got to go and, regroup from this loss and let's hit the ground running and let's go ahead and try to go achieve our goal. And at that point in time, our goal was week by week and let's go win this region. And and ultimately, the long term goal, the big goal was to win the state championship.
Well, Coach, when I was coaching, I thought this, but since I've talked to people like you so much in the last 5 or 6 years, I believe it even more. I can make an argument it's actually good to lose a game.
Oh, let me
It's
tell you
actually
something.
good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that if you go in that game with Burke County 14-0,
Yeah,
you just never know if you're
you
going to
never
really
know.
hit that, hit
Right.
that stride you hit. Do you feel that?
I agree with that. I tell my kids, and I've told every team that I've coached, there's always a lesson in a loss. Um, and I think with this group, it humbled them, but then it made them hungry, man. Like you just saw something different from our football team. And so I agree with you 1,000%. There's always something good that comes out after a
Yeah.
loss. You're going to kind of because it makes you self reflect.
Mhm.
And it makes you self-reflect on every level. It makes your coaches
Mhm.
self-reflect. It makes you self-reflecting on your coaching style. It makes you self-reflect about personnel. It makes the kids go back and think about what they could have done different. And so yeah, it's absolutely always something
Yeah.
good that comes out of that.
Now, look, in that moment, it sucks to lose.
Oh
Okay.
man, let me
I'm
tell you
never
something.
trying to lose anything. It
It
sucks.
sucks to lose,
But
and every coach in the stands say you the worst coach in
yeah,
America, and
it
all
sucks.
that good stuff. So yeah, it's tough
But
now.
you see to the point, and we saw it a little bit this year, in some of the state championship games. You see some teams, or maybe even the week before, you see some teams that are 12-0, 13-0, 14-0, somewhere in there along, and they just had when you hadn't lost, it's almost like your kids don't think they can lose. You
Yep.
just kind of think magic's going to happen and we're going to figure it out. And then you get behind
Yep.
and you get real nervous. Like you just, you can feel it. You can feel it at the
And,
NFL level and college level. It's
yeah,
even better at the high school level, right?
and I think oftentimes not only that's tough, that's a tough situation, tough position to be in when you haven't lost and you haven't really played from behind. Because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of these teams that hadn't lost, that's
They haven't
14
played
and
from
0,
behind
15 and
either
0,
yet.
they haven't been losing at halftime, or they haven't been in a like a okay, coming into the fourth quarter, we're down 10 or whatnot. And so that's a tough situation to be in, like in the state championship in such a big stage, because
Mm-hmm.
you don't know how your kids gonna handle that adversity,
Yeah.
And one thing that we try to do during the summer, we're gonna go and do some big time contact camps with some guys that I know, with some teams that got dudes that's gonna hit us in the mouth. We scrimmage Lee County every year. Let me tell you something, Coach
Yeah.
Fabrizio, he
They're
brings a
good. Yeah.
very good program every single year. So we're able to see early, just our kids in some adverse situations, to kind of figure out, okay, what's the character of this team.
Mm-hmm.
um and so, like, going to the Harris County loss, that was the reason why, I intentionally scheduled Whitewater for a non-region, because I wanted to see Wing T, and it just so happened like we saw a Wing T
In the
team in the
state
state
championship.
championship,
Yeah.
so that was just a blessing. And then I wanted to see, like with Harris County and Northside, those were non-region games, and they were going to be really good football teams that
Mm-hmm.
I could really see where we were. Just a testing game to just see, how physical we were going to be. They were going to be big, have a bigger program, more number of kids. And so it was just a great game to just really just kind of tell us, okay, this is where we're good at. This is what we need to work on. And we as coaches, we kind of hit the drum boards to kind of, make us better in the things where we were, needed some work.
Well, the biggest mistake people make that are fans or in the media or something like that is they forget that the biggest thing that shows who's good is the improvement from the beginning of the year to the end. So
Correct.
like they want to watch the team one time early in the year and start putting them
Right.
in order. Well, it doesn't really
Mm-hmm.
work like that. So
Mm-mm.
the constant improvement through the year is what matters. And you guys constantly improved. And to the point that I've telling myself, like I knew you guys were good, but I didn't. I go. I'm on this radio show every Friday in Atlanta. We report scores, we interview people,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And you guys come up. Carver beat Jordan 66-6. Good job,
Mm-hmm.
guys. We knew you'd win that one. Like I don't know that I was like I knew you guys were good. I knew you were good, but it didn't come to my mind much. Then you get in the playoffs, you win a couple games, but then you play Pierce County, who's the defending state champs. You beat them 44-7. The next week
Right.
you play Appling County, who's a lot like Pierce, and you beat them
Mm-hmm.
49-6. And in both weeks, I remember telling my man Sam Crenshaw that I'm on the show with, like,
Right.
these guys from Carver are for real. They're
Right.
not playing around. You don't go play Pierce County and beat them by nearly 40 points and beat Appling by 40 the next week. These guys are for real. What had
Right.
grown? So think about that from that Harris County game to then. Like, what's the biggest change that you said, man, we really are pretty good. Like, we got to change.
Well, I mean, just as a coach, there's one, defense is always going to be ahead of offense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and especially when you run the spread. So offensively, it took us a little while, took us a couple games to kind of really figure out, what our identity was and how good. Like, we could always run the football, but we had to figure out, what were going to be our passing concepts that we were going to hang our hat on. And then my quarterback, this was last year, he started maybe the first three games, and then we ended up starting a senior. And so when Matthew came back in this year as a starter, he hadn't had a whole lot of varsity time, from last year. And so, he had a couple games where he had to kind of get hit to kind of get used to the flow of the game. And once he got it, man, he got it. He started lighting people up, especially as we got to the playoffs. Just going to the playoffs, to be honest, like we had started looking at Pierce County when we found out we were going to Double A. So we lost to Savannah Christian last year in Triple A in the semifinals. When they did the reclass and we found out we were going Double A, myself and my defensive coordinator, we went straight to Double A, just like every coach does, and we started trying to figure out, okay, who the big dogs in Double A. And we saw Pierce County. We knew Pierce County was the defending state champion. So we had been watching Pierce County film and kind of looking at them, peeking at them almost a whole year. Because this was our mindset. We said, okay, to win it all in Double A, we're going to have to beat Pierce County, because we watched them and we knew they were really good. And, they had a really, really tough scheme. And we knew their quarterback was, he was back. Yeah. And man, he is a dude. Yeah. Let me tell you, he is a ball player. Yeah. And so we had kind of been watching them for a long time. And even back during the summer, we had kind of started game planning for their offense, just trying to figure out ways to kind of slow their offense, because that's how they get you. The time of possession they're going to have is going to be ridiculous. They're not going to turn the ball over. They're going to make you play a style of football that kids today are really not used to. Back when we played 3 yards in a cloud of dust, that's what we did. We were the wishbone or the wing tee or the I format. Yeah. But now kids are not used to that. Yeah. So to get in those heavy sets that peers get into, and they just churn and churn and churn, kids eventually they'll tap out with that kind of stuff. So we were trying to get our kids prepared for that all year long. And like I said, we kind of started watching them. And then when it came to Applin, they were very similar, but they wasn't as patient with those heavy sets. They would get out of it and they would play, traditional spread or get an 11 personnel and, do some of the stuff that you see now. But yeah, with Pierce, man, we had looked at them all year long, and that was just a team that we kind of like, hey, to go win it all, we got to get through Pierce County, and they were very hard-nosed, very well coached. And, we just kind of, that particular night, Braylon Jakes, our receiver, Braylon Jakes, I think he had like 4 touchdowns, and our quarterback had a really, really good night because they did a really good job of stopping our run game. Like they would have 9 guys in the box, and so we had to figure out, how we could take advantage of them in the passing game. And so Braylon Jakes, he stepped up tremendously for us that night.
Yeah, just no disrespect to the teams you guys played in your region or the first round or so, but I know what kind of coaching staff and what kind of players they got at Pierce and Appling, and I really jumped out to me how you guys handled those. I mean, 2 of the best defensive coordinators in the state on those teams. So you get in the state championship playing Burke, another guy I know both of us have a ton of respect for, Coach Stevens and his staff. Absolutely. So, and you're the favorite, right? Now you've beaten the 2 big dogs back-to-back weeks by 40 points. But you got to come in and play, right? You got to come and execute. So what happens take me through the game real quick on maybe where do you think, okay, we're responding? We're ready.
Okay, so leading up to that, kind of like you said, I saw we were the favorite, and oh man, that drove me nuts. Because at that point, I'm trying to make sure that our guys, like Coach Smart and Coach Saban say, that's rat poison. Yeah, you don't want your guys to see that in the paper. So, what I would do, I would oftentimes I would either go and read the newspaper of the team that we were playing. I would find any type of ammunition, anything that's gonna say, hey, we're about to lose, or this team better than us, or people don't think that we can play. And I would always post it in the locker room. I would post it in our kids group chat. So I would always try to find ways to kind of get them amped up. Yeah. And with social media, man, now that's easy.
It's easy.
Fans are gonna post something out there where, Carver, you're gonna lose by 14, and you're not going to the dome, or in the dome we're gonna blow you out. Like, I'm gonna find something. So that's I was able to find some stuff, and so that kept our kids grounded. And then the kids understood, like, okay, this is the state championship, this is our goal, this is what we worked so hard for. And I seen a focus from them going into that game that I don't know if I've seen all year long. I kind of looked at them when we got ready to come out of the tunnel to take the field at the Mercedes-Benz, and their level of focus and just how locked in they were, it kind of gave you goosebumps. And so, I thought then, I said, hey, we go and do what we supposed to do. We're gonna be okay. The thing with Coach Stevens' teams that I've watched over the years, I told him after the game, a big part of some of the things that I've done in my career is because I've watched guys like him, guys like Coach McGee. He has a doctorate degree. That kind of motivated me to go get a doctorate degree. And I've just watched Coach Stevens over the years, and he's had some really, really good football teams. And with that being said, the wing T and the way that they run it, man, it is so much misdirection, so much eye candy. And we stressed all week long for our guys. You cannot get caught up in the motion. You got to read your keys. You cannot, just because motion goes one way, or, the guards pull one way, like you got to make sure that you stay locked into your assignment. And so that's what kind of concerned me leading up to the game, because they did a lot of stuff. And the thing was, they could go from the they could go from the wing T to the spread without changing personnel and be just as good probably in the spread. And the only other teams that I've seen do that is Savannah Christian last year and Benedictine. Like, they were the same way, where they go wing T to spread. And that's tough when you focus on the wing T all week long, and then you got to go and, defend three wide. And I think in the dome, they got in quads on us. And so luckily the kid dropped the ball because he was butt naked wide open. So, so like I said, it's some luck involved in there.
Well, Coach, I was there, and I thought your team played extremely hard, and I thought they responded. You guys got up, they came back and made a little run.
They did.
And then you came right back. Like there wasn't an allowing of them to continue. And
on that drive that they scored, they actually converted 2 4th down. Matter of fact, the play that they scored on, they had been in the wing T. It was 4th and 5. They jumped in the spread, and they ran power read, and it was a great play call, because our outside linebacker, he's seen it, and they got in tight end. They got in a tight end set. So once the tight end blocked down, the outside linebacker squeezed down with it, and nobody was there for the running back once the quarterback gave the ball to the running back, and he went 30 yards to the end zone. So
you guys came right back and responded, and that's where you could see the maturity from maybe the team from several years ago that lost in a final, or a team that lost in the semifinals. You could see the maturity of, something didn't go our way for a few minutes, but we're going to win tonight. And that was what I could see that from your team, even from 50 yards away or so from where you were. But I say this at the risk of irritating some people, so I hope I don't. But Coach, this run is underrated, what y'all did in them last 3 games. Okay. 145 points you scored, gave up 27, and you was playing
That's tough.
Pierce County, Appling, and Burke. And if people are listening to this and aren't overly familiar with Georgia, that's 3 of the best teams and 3 of the best coaching staffs in the state of Georgia. And I mean, you guys kind of whipped them. And so, I mean, like, all 3.
I'll tell you who else
pride in that. Take a bow right now. It's January, baby. So enjoy it now, because, about 2 months from now, they're not going to care about that anymore. So they're going to talk about next year. So,
exactly.
But that is awesome, man. You should be proud of that.
But I'll tell you who else was good during the playoff run. Ringo was very well coached. And
they were. They are.
They were good. They were good. They did some good stuff, had some good athletes too. And that coaching staff, they did a really good job of coaching those guys up. But yeah, all 3 of those games leading up to the state championship, from Ringo to Pierce, Applet, and of course Burke, all of them were very well coached, had really good athletes. And I think we just got hot at the right time, right at the end of the season.
Yeah, I think so too, Coach. So I'll ask you another question too. I promise I'll let you go. So what the people that are listening will always want to know this type of thing. So what was something you guys either did at practice or something in your scheme, or, it's over now, you can tell the secret. What was something that you did this year that was like, man, that was really good for us? Either something you tweaked at practice, or something you guys did offensively, defensively, special teams, or whatever, that you really learned this year that you really thought was an impactful part of the championship season?
Well, Yeah, the season is over, but we got another season to play next year. So I don't know how much I want to let out of the bag here, but
You ain't got to tell me
but
everything, Coach.
no, it's no secret. One of my main focuses, once I got to Carver 3 years ago, I had to find a kicker, like point blank, period. I just felt like, coming into Carver, and even back when I was there as an assistant, I said, man, we always have really good athletes, but special teams wise, in regards to punting and kicking, we struggled. And that was one of my main goals, is making sure that we put the amount of time necessary in at practice and during the spring and during the summer where we were going to be good in special teams. And so I look, we got a ninth grade kid fresh out of middle school, Kendrick Pierre Spencer, and he was lights out for us in the playoffs. I think in doing our playoff run, he might have went 6 for 7 kicking field goals. He made one in the state championship game. He made a huge one in the Pierce County game because MacArthur broke a long run on us, and they jumped out 7-0, and we went down and stalled out, but we got 3 points. He kicked like a 33-yard field goal, so 7-3. That level out the momentum.
Yeah.
And so I thought that, like, number one, and I know that's simple,
Yeah.
but we
But you
had
got to have a
like,
kicker.
got to have a kicker, and you got to be able to punt. And we spent a lot of time during the week making sure that we're very clean in special teams. And then another thing that we do, we start practice out with a competition every day. Like, that's soon as we get finished with flex, soon as we stretch, we go straight into a competition, whether it's red zone, third downs, 2 minute. Monday through Wednesday, we're gonna do a competition, and the reason why we do that, we want to get our kids fired up. We want to get them out there competing, going at each other, and it kind of break the monotony of going out there practicing, going to Indy, doing your A&A, doing your play polish, all that type of stuff. It gets them the opportunity as soon as they warm up to go out and get their juices flowing and compete with one another, because that's what kids want to do.
Mm-hmm.
They want to go out there, they want to play the game. So as soon as we warm up, we go into some type of competition, and I think that has been something that has served very well for us in regards to just keeping kids focused at practice and getting them fired up.
Absolutely, Coach. That was awesome. So I get you out on this. I know all these good things can't happen by just you. You don't get all the credit or all the blame, right?
That's
So,
right.
I love highlighting assistant coaches. Wish I could highlight
Absolutely.
all of them. So give a shout out real quick to you guys. Tell me who all's on the staff in a little bit, and then we'll let you go.
Oh yeah, Coach Justin Newman, my defensive coordinator, man, he's
One of the
lights
best.
out,
Yeah,
one
one
of the
of the best.
best in the business. On that side of the ball, I got Coach Patrick Butler. He's my strength guy. Coaches outside linebackers. He's been with me everywhere, every program that I've ran. And he's a guy. Does a great job for us. Coach John Simpson, the inside linebackers. Coach Makai Israel, in the secondary. I got Coach Atron Jackson, defensive line coach. He's a phenomenal defensive line coach. Coach Jamal Breakley, he's my receivers guy. Does a really good job with receivers. Coach Antoine Young, he's our quarterback coach. Did a great job with Matthew and our other quarterbacks. And then Coach Eric Allen. And I got a co-athletic director, Coach Anson Hunley. He comes out and helps wherever he can. And so we just got a really good group of guys. And don't let me forget Coach Jamon Fortson. He also comes and helps with receivers. So we just got a really good group of guys that come and pour into our young men and, help push them to be the best version of themselves.
Absolutely, Coach. That's what it's all about, man. Congratulations to you, the whole staff, the community, the school, everybody. It's a big deal to win the state championship, and it's hard to do, even with good athletes, even with good teams. Only one
Absolutely.
team's going to win it, and so I hope you guys take a few minutes and enjoy it before you get on to next year. But I know how that works too.
Yeah.
But you'll always, for now on, be a state champion. And the best compliment I can give you is there's a bunch of teams out there now watching you. Like you was watching Pierce County, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a bunch of people out there. That's the best compliment your program can get. But that now everybody's looking at you and your team and what you're doing. And so congrats, Coach. I really appreciate you taking some time to talk to me, man. It means a lot.
Absolutely. I greatly appreciate you. I greatly appreciate everything you do for us. The recognition that you give to the coaches and to the kids. I mean, it goes a long way. So, Chris, we greatly appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach. If I can ever help you, let me know, man. Take care.
Absolutely. Take care.
See you.
Happy